Okay, here we go. So this is a narrative for the presentation / demo for DMSv migrating from VMware ESX on-prem environment to Microsoft Azure. So let me bring up the presentation here. And here we go. Here we go. Okay. Oh, let's go back to the beginning. Okay, so here is the challenge, right? You need to migrate lots of VM to Azure. You need to keep your app online for as long as possible until the very end during the cutover, right? So throughout the entire deployment, migration should be no downtime and very minimum disruption. And of course, we should be able to handle multiple resource groups at the Azure. We should be able to offer a very simple licensing model based on capacity. And of course, the data should be encrypted from the on-prem data center to Azure so that it's absolutely secure, and of course do compression and so on to reduce the bandwidth requirement. So in our environment here, we do have a ESX. Actually, we have two ESXs within the vCenter 109. So ESX 107 and ESX 120. So there's some virtual machines that are defined that are to be migrated to Azure. So here on 107, we have a set of what I call the group A, and then one on the in the ESX 120, the group B. Each of them have a Windows VM, Win A here, and a Red Hat Linux VM, RHA here. Likewise for B, you have the Win B and RHB. So here is the Microsoft Azure. So they would probably have, let's say, a resource group A for all the group A virtual machines and disk, and then for the B, resource group B for the group B on the ESX 120 here. So the goal is to migrate the data disk, not the virtual machine itself, because Azure is a very different environment, and chances are all the apps will be running on new VMs from the Microsoft Marketplace for the Windows 2020 or SQL or the latest and the greatest. So all they want us to do is to help them migrate the disk. So here is the environment where you have on the left hand side is on-prem on the local data center, through TCP/IP connected to Microsoft Azure in the cloud. And for this demo, we're going to use one of the many locations of Azure, which is we're using the US-West 2 location. There are two goals. Goal number one is to basically provide the online migration. Boom, everything just go from A to B, and that's it. Okay, with minimum downtime. And then secondly is that you want to automate everything, right? So from the deployment of the Cirrus data VM at the on-prem, okay, to also the VM at the Azure. And since Azure, as with any cloud sort of a application, you really want to do like infrastructure as code, so that automation is key, right? You just define a template, you just define or describe what you need, and then the automation tool should be able to deploy all the needed resource for you at will when you need it, and then when you don't need it, it will destroy it and get rid of it, so that you don't pay extra for having those virtual machines and tools that are always on at the Azure. So step one in our demo here is that we would deploy the DMSv on-prem. So that is already done. And the way we did it was very easy. Just basically we have OVA, the templates for the VM. And so we already have template created for all of our DMSv. You can have one of them, two of them, 10 of them, doesn't matter. Just distribute them within the vCenter that you're migrating from. Okay, and you deploy as many as you want in order to maximize the performance, right? And so once that is done, okay, so the DMSv will be running on-prem. And then likewise, as I said before, at the Azure cloud, you want it to be as automated as possible. So we do provide a set of automation tool where you just describe how many DMS 9000 there as receivers, right? These are migration receivers. How many you want, and which resource group you to host them, and then which of the resource group, whether it's A or B or C and D, all of them by one or many to one or one to we have all the flexibility, right? So For this demo here, we will have a single DMS 9000 that will handle all the incoming traffic for Azure for both resource group A and B. Then step 2 is that you kind of create a migration plan. So here is an example of a plan using Microsoft Excel. Each row would be a description of, for example, here, for the destination DMS 9000V at this IP address, he's going to handle the Windows A, Red Hat A, Windows B, Red Hat B, right? So these are the resources that he's responsible for migrating. And then what is the name of the virtual machine at the Azure side to receive the data? So Win A would be mapped to Win A, Red Hat A would be Red Hat A, and so on. So once you define this, the automation tool would basically take the output of this Excel as a common separated value file, CSV file. Then we just execute and do it for you. Whether it's 1 entry or 1,000 entry, it doesn't matter. So when the plan is executed, the Azure managed block device or managed disk will be created automatically. They are at least the same size or bigger as the source. And at the time of during the migration before cutover, these are owned or attached to the DMS 9000 receiver. So the receiver would receive the data, decompress, and write them to these managed disks. And then when you're ready to cut over, when they're all synced up, okay, they are then moved to the appropriate virtual machines later. So once the plan is executed, the disks are created. Now we're migrating to it. And when you're ready to cut over, during the cutover, you have to offline the source on-prem machine to guarantee that the data is no longer changing. And then we would basically do a last sync. And once this is all synced up, they will be detached from our DMS receiver and will be moved to the appropriate virtual machines within the Azure. So that's how simple it is. So let's go ahead and into the demo. First, let me show you the Azure environment. So in the Azure environment, if I go home and show you the virtual machines, so here they are. Okay, so initially, these virtual machines are blank. They only have one disk, which is the OS disk. Our DMS 9000 receiver that received the data and write to the migrated disk is also blank. It only have its own OS disk. So now we have an environment that's ready to go. The DMS 9000 is having the IP address basically here. Okay, and I can open up a console to see how it looked like. So let's go to the open a management web console to it, log in. And while we're doing that, we'll also open a console connection to our own on-prem DMSv. And here's a 172.236.0241 as we have seen before. And logged in. Okay, so this is source, destination. Source is the DMSv, and the destination is the DMS 9000 or DMS 9KVAZ. These are not very powerful virtual machine. It doesn't use up a lot of memory. It only uses up 5 gig so far. Okay, even though we have 110 gig, and the CPU is 2.4 gigahertz, right? And it doesn't have any disk attached to it for migration receiving. The automation tool will create it and attach to us, and it will show up here automatically without me clicking anything. Okay, and at the source, same thing. The source is we are integrated with VMware. This tab right over here, but right now it's blank. The automation tool would automatically associate it with the ESX that we need to take the data from. And the migration tab has nothing yet. Migration sessions will be created as we need it. The storage resource, which are the destination storage, is not yet connected to the Azure DMS 9000. So this is a typical remote migration setup where the remote resource will be delivered locally, available here in this tab where we can select as the destination. So all of these are now ready to go. Okay, so let's log into the vCenter and inspect the source environment. This is the web management console for vCenter 109, and in here we have the Group A resource. Here are the two virtual machines, RHA and WinA, and then Here are the group B resource, RHB and WinB. If I click on any one of these, you can see that this is hosted by ESX107 for the group A, and then for group B is hosted by ESX120, exactly in our PowerPoint. Okay, so let's go into the local console of the Red Hat and look at the data. Okay, so let's log in. Look at the disk that is seeing. So right now there is a operating system disk SDA, and he have a data disk which is SDB, and there's a partition SDB1, and let's mount that partition and take a look at what's in there. SDB1 into MNC. So there's a simple file called rh-a SDB, just to identify itself as a volume from the RHA virtual machine. And I cat the content, and it says, hello, this is from RHA. So let's add another line to it. Migration will start soon. And this is what day is today? April 8th. And so let's add that into that file. Okay, so that's the file. So let's get out. So this is to show a live VM running. We're not going to shut this down, okay, until the very end. Okay, so we just basically leave it alone. And then there is a Windows A as well. So if I go there and look at the Windows console here, and logged in, sorry, here it is. Here we go. Okay, so we launched the computer manager, and here it is. This manager. And so we have a 501 megabyte disk 1, and he's got a label, this label drive E-Win-A. And if I open him, there should be a text file in there. There it is. This identifies itself. And so after we migrate, we want to make sure that you see. And we already have this. Oh, okay, so let me add something to here. April 9, what is this? 8:16 p.m. Okay, and save. Okay. So here's our live application again. Okay, and we'll keep it here so that throughout the migration, you will see that we don't have to. We don't have any. We don't need any downtime to do the migration. Okay, so I'm not going to open up the B side of the thing. It looks pretty much similar or identical, parallel to that. And so let's start the migration. So let's open up the a PuTTY session to our DMSv. And okay, so that's to 241. So that's a DMSv. Logging as root. Okay, so yeah, let me make everything bigger. Give me 1 second. Change settings and appearance. And let's make them 14 point size fonts. There you go. Now you can see it. Okay. All right. So we go to $DMS home, DMSv automation tools. Okay. So here we have a CSV file that you have seen on my PowerPoint before. Okay. So this is now converted to a CSV, and it's called DMSv to Azure configuration. So first I need to know the IP, I need to modify it to make sure that it's migrating to the correct receiver in Azure. And since I just bring up that new virtual machine, his IP address I need to be set. So let's go to Azure. Where is Azure? Right here. Our DMS 9K VAZ right here. So this is the new IP address 101. So let's copy that into the clipboard and go back to our PuTTY session here, VI the automation file, DMSv to Azure. configuration. Okay, oh, like lots of things there. So let me just open them up. Okay, so the IP address is changed, right? So this is the old address, so I need to basically okay, substitute, and this is our new one, and the old one is kind of doing it backward here, but okay, where's the old one? The old address is right here. Okay, so the old address is now going to be translated to the new instance correct address. So they all change. And if you look at this this row by row here, okay, so basically saying for the ESX107, we are migrating his WinA into resource group A in West US2 territory of the Azure. Okay, and then likewise for the 120, his WinB is going to be migrated to resource group B, so A to A, B to B, right, and so on and so on. So the rest is just basically detail. So once you have a line for each of the resource you want to migrate, again, this can be 4 line, 100 line, 500 line, 1,000 line, doesn't matter. The migrator would basically automate the whole process of doing everything for you. So I'll save this file and get out. So the file is now saved, and we'll just basically go ahead and run it. DMSv-f, the file name is this guy, and that's it. So now, I guess I'll make it a little bit bigger horizontally. Everything validates now. The virtual machine, the receiver at Azure is found. And so now on the source, we're adding these 4 ESX VM into our DMSv configuration so that we can discover the resource. So as it's doing that, let me go ahead and open up the console, our 241, which is our DMSv. So now before it was blank, now the VMware is showing integration to the ESX2, which is the 120, that's the name of the ESX, and then this whatever long name ESX name, which is basically 107. Okay, so all the resources are now known to us. How, you know, the WinA, Red Hat A, and on the other guy, WinB, Red Hat B is all here. So then the next thing the script does is that created a block device and it's attaching this to the VMS9KZ. So if I go to Azure, you will see that our DMS9K will have a data disk attached to it. Refresh. There we go. So the WinA1 that is just created, a new block device using a standard HDD. So this again is programmable or definable in that spreadsheet. To save money for demo, we use standard HDD, but the customer probably use premium HDD or whatever they want. Okay, so it's attached to us. So once it's attached to us, in the receiver appliance, you will see that we have a disk, and we would basically enlist and rename it appropriately to matching the what I call user-friendly name. There you go. It's just automatically done that. Okay, it changed to WinA, and then it will create what's called a migration target. Okay, and it will put that disk in there, and that would then be available to the DMSv. So I'm going to lock into the DMSv right here in the storage resource. You will see as a remote target is connected to it. Okay, to the Azure, and then the device is now locally available, and we have a -D for destination, right? WinA1 destination disk here, and a migration session is created already. Okay, and is migrating now. There you go. Okay, so 14 megabyte per second, 16. It's already 17% done. It's not a very big disk. It's a 500 megabyte. Okay, so this should be finished in no time. Okay, so while this is migrating, okay, let's see what else is doing. So now it's the automation tool is now doing the it's finished doing the WinA. The migration session is already created, and it's now basically waiting for it to finish, and it's now proceeding with the RHA, the Red Hat A, for the disk of Red Hat A. So again, going to the Azure, you will see that. Let me do a refresh on our virtual machine. So the RHA disk is created and attached to us. And similarly, okay, the migration session will be created as soon as it's attached, rescan, and delivered remotely to the DMSv here. Here we go. Okay, RHA migration session is now started, and he's about to kick in 0% so far. Now the other guy is already, the WinA is already 100%. Is now in the pending complete state, meaning that, you know, if we cut over now, okay, we would then be able to see the disk at the Azure. But let's wait until all 4 migration sessions are created, finished, and all in pending complete before we go with the other step. So right now I'm just basically, you know, waiting for the automation tool to finish creating each of the disks, attaching them to the DMS 9000 receiver, creating migration session for them, finishing up, getting into the pending complete state, okay, and then we'll be able to, at that time, schedule for the cutover. So come back to the Azure side, and as things are happening, I keep on doing a refresh, right? More and more disks are attached. So notice that for the other virtual machine, the RHAB, WinAB, and so on, they don't get the disk yet, so they don't have any disk attached. So if I go back to the summary review, probably an easier way to see it. So again, all the disks that are created are added to DMS 9000 receiver. So we have the disk first, we receive the data, we wait until everything's synced up, and then you schedule the downtime for cutting over. And upon cut over, then RHA will get his data disk, so it's B and A and B and so on. Each of them would then have 2 disks, and then the DMS 9000 KV will be back to 1 disk, which is the OS disk. All right, so that's the expected expectation that we will see here. So notice that the disks are created for the different region, A, B, A, B. I'm sorry, the virtual machine themselves are in region A, region B, right? And if I look at the disk from the Azure perspective, from the disk, so these are the, other than the boot disk, the data disk, RHA1, RHB3, WinA1, WinB2, and so on. So these are, if I sort them by resource group, when we create them, they're already belonging to the correct resource group. So all of these are in resource group A, and all of these are in resource group B, right? So the A machines are in group A, and the B machines are in group B, right? So even though they're in different resource group, we are definitely able to attach the disk to our cell, to the DMS 9K, okay, and be able to write to it, and then later we'll be able to distribute back to them. All right, let's see how, okay, so everything's pretty much finished, okay, and waiting for the pending complete. So let's check the migrator and see if all the sessions are, okay, they are. So they're all migrated and finished syncing. So now notice that the source virtual machine, they're still running, okay, so this is the time to go to each of them and basically shut them down. So at the time of cutover, you have to schedule a few minutes of downtime for each, okay, and be able to say this, basically unmount the volume. Oh, sorry. Go get out of there. You mount the MNT, and then basically power off. So we do that to each of the machines there. Oh, I have so many sessions open. Okay, RHB. Some of these first. Okay. Okay, so that's the RHA. Then let's do it for the RHB. Locked in. And what else? WinA. We were just here before. Let's go back in there. Here it is. Okay, so now is the time to close the application and basically do a power off. Right here, power off, shut down. And WinB right here. Power off right here. Okay, so that's pretty much it. And when they're all basically powered off, we would do a resync of the the volume for one last time, and then that would make sure everything's consistent. Okay, he's done and he's done. Okay, so everybody's off now. So let's go back to our migration session right here. Complete session. Able to, okay, so it's finished. And this guy, complete session. Done. And complete session. So once each of these virtual machines are in the complete session state and the machine is powered off, the automation tool will be able to cut them over. Otherwise, it will say, hey, the machine is not off. Okay, there we go. Just by running the same syntax again, it will basically check everything and look at the state of each of the migration, and it found that, okay, it's ready for cutover. It verified that the machine is off. Okay, and it will basically detach the disk from our DMS 9K AZ. And once it's detached from us, it would then be able to attach to the real virtual machine. All right, so we're going to start to see things move here. So if I go back to the virtual machine. Okay, so now I used to have 5 disks, the 4 data disks plus my own OS. So now I'm 1 fewer, which means that the disk is already detached, even though the command is still executing. Okay, there you go. And now it's assigning the length by attaching it to WinA. That's the rightful owner of the WinA_1. So if I look at the WinA here, do a refresh here. There you go. He's now got 2 disks. Okay, so if I go to WinA, look at his disk, and here you go. He's got a data length. Okay, so while it's doing all the other ones, let's go ahead and inspect WinA. So WinA is an IP address 241 here. Okay, so let's copy him and open a remote desktop to him. Here it is. Control V. So 223.241. So that's his IP address. More choices. I think I have an account called Wayne and password. Remember me, and then okay. All right, don't ask again. Yes. So here is that. New machine 2016. Everything's a lot faster than the VMware environment. Okay, here it is. And where's my disk manager? Come on. There it is. In the meantime, how's my script doing? So it's cutting over more and more disks. So by the time I inspect this one, it's probably finished. Okay, disk manager. So besides the OS disk and a temp disk, there should be a new disk. There you go. And it's a 1 gigabyte, because I think the minimum size of a managed disk is 1 gig, so that's why I cannot have a 512 byte. It's 512 meg, and so there's an extra 524 meg on the end here, but doesn't matter. This is the partition that we migrated, and if I open him, here's a dry E, so it was originally dry E of WinA, Windows Virtual Machine A. And if I open him, here you go. So this was migrated on April 9, 8:16 p.m., which is the content that I put in there. So you can imagine that was a live machine, and it was never shut down until the very end when we're ready to transition the workload to the new Azure environment here. So that's that. All right, so let's see how the other guys are doing. Let me close down all these things. Looking at the virtual machine list here, do a refresh. Okay, so looks like, okay, so Red Hat A also got its own disk, and the WinA here, we just look at, he got his own disk, and there are 2 more to go. Okay, and one of them is in transit because I'm supposed to have 3, so 1 is missing, so that means it's in flight. So let's do a refresh, and there you go. Now you have 2. So WinB also have it, and if I go in there, no doubt I will see the data disk as well. Since the RHA is also ready, let's take a look at RHA. So RHA's IP address is 188 here. So let's copy him and open up a console. Where's my window? Right here. Let me pop back here. So let me bring it up to the other screen so that you can see it. Here it is. Root. If I know the password, right? CDSI 2012. Here it is. Okay, so let's see what kind of disk I have. So every virtual machine, you get a free drive from Microsoft. Okay, so here it is. Okay, 293 gig drive. So that's the term, the one that we attach, therefore become SDC instead of SDB. Okay, so here's a partition SDC1. Here's a 1 gig disk, right? But only the first 500 megabyte has the content. So let's mount them. Mount def SDC1 into MNT. No complaint about file system corruption or whatnot, right? So cat RHA SDB, and here it is. Okay, so hello, this is from RHA, and migration will start soon on April 8th. So that's what we put in there before we. So applications is now running on Azure. Okay, and basically the migration is a success. So now we have no disk other than our OS. It's all detached, and they're all distributed among the 4 virtual machines here. And that completes our migration.